gents, to the Brotherhood space. I'm super pumped to jump on today and offer this new avenue, new style of content for you all that I really plan to push this year and for many years to come. So really wanted to offer different perspectives, we can say, on my journey, on how to best assist you along your journey as well, which is the most important part. So jumping in today, we're going to touch base on, what I would say to the 20-year-old version of me starting out in the personal development space, we can say. I started, in personal development at 20 years of age, started off in the Tony Robbins space. And look, it did completely change my life. And I remember walking into UPW at 20 years of age and having no fucking clue of where I was going, what my purpose was. And that is so common for a lot of you guys as well. A lot of guys who come through the brotherhood space in these early 20s, it's really that process of going, where the fuck is my place in the world? And what's my divine mission my divine purpose, which is so fundamental to the masculine at the core. And if you haven't read The Way of the Superior Man by David Dieter, that's a great book that goes deeply into that and really stepping in deeper to your masculine essence. But healthy masculinity is having the capacity to be both strong and also gentle, and that's what David Dieter would call, having both spine and heart married in a man. So long story short, it really opened me up towards the mission and this sort of space, and deeply grateful. But there were certain misconceptions, we can say, or certain perspectives that really did hold me hostage, for lack of better words. And look, I get it, when you're young and you're in those early 20s, you get this oomph, this sort of like beam of hope and a spark lights on from within, and and then it's almost like that fire can never stop, in which it doesn't. However, it's ways in which we can start to fine tune it and direct it more manageably, and with more purpose and more intention. So moving along here, let's jump into it. So it's going to be even harder than what you thought. Now, like if I was to go back to myself 5-6 years ago, so I'm 26, almost 27 now. I don't know where the time has gone, but time does go super, super fast, but it was a lot harder, and it has been a lot harder, and I know it will be continuing in the future than what I thought. And it took a lot fucking longer than what I thought. I often say to people, even lads within the brotherhood space as well, if I was to go back to 20-year-old version of myself and speak about how long it would take to get to even where I am today, I would have been like, fuck that, all right? Look, I don't know if I would have been, like, at the end of the day, I think there's always that deeper persistence underneath it. But again, it comes back to, we often overestimate what we can do in a year and underestimate what we can do in 10. So it really is playing the long game, but also knowing that it's going to be hard, like it just is. And that's beautiful, because in order to become the man worthy of wielding your Excalibur, which is your soul's potential, life's going to throw you all the challenges needed to forge you into the motherfucker who can live that out. So other one is, there's nothing wrong with you. So very much early on in my process, I know I always felt like I had to become something, become someone. It was this process of like becoming this other version of myself, in which 100% it is, but there's also that deeper underlying reason. And, I had some deeper journeys with plant medicine, and there was one really, really special one in which I had this deep epiphany that all the things I love, all the things I'm passionate about, all the things that light me up are exactly who I'm supposed to be. I'm not meant to be anybody else. And I started to realize, I wouldn't want to be anybody else, right? And the same goes for you. We all have our own unique essence, our own unique edge that we bring to the world. And we remember that, we're not separate from the universe or life or source or whatever you want to call it, but actually incredibly crucial fabric of it. So this then flows on to every challenge is life believing in you, not life condemning you. All right. It can be so easy, especially early on, as the bigger challenges start to come. You're starting to level up in the game of life and bigger boss battles are coming through. And it can be so easy as well to fall into, why the fuck is this happening? All right. But then there's that kind of deeper underlying voice that knows, it's like, well, in order for me to bring forth the best version of myself, the best life, then I need these challenges to forge me into that person. It's like a training arena. Right? You need greater battles to gain new XP, to up level. So once you really do realize that and recognize that the challenges are a gift, are a beautiful gift, it actually starts to get a lot easier. So beautiful. And then you already know what you've got to do, and you don't always need an event, podcast, or book to invest in to finally start following it. You know, one of my best mates has said this to me a few times. You know, he went to a personal development event, and as I'm sure you'll see, it's like this. You know, here's the 7 steps to success. This is like the next thing. This is the next thing you need to break through, right? And yes, some of those can be incredibly powerful. However, there was this one gentleman that got up and he said, you know, you already know what you got to do, all of you. You're just not fucking doing it. All right. So I know for me, again, early on in that process, and it's like anyone, you know, young and upcoming, you don't quite have that experience of like belief in yourself and recognition from yourself. And we can say that undeniable, stackable proof that you are who you say you are. And yeah, you might doubt that internal voice. But really, as I've gone along on my journey personally, I have found that that inner voice has never led me astray. Never. Even if at times I've perceived that it's led me astray, it was exactly what I needed to get the outcome that I'd wished. So trusting in, you know, knowing what you got to do. And it's just a process of doing it. And as you do that action, your life force comes online, the greater clarity comes through, and then the next step appears. So it very much is that process. You already know what you got to do. You're just not fucking doing it. Now onto the next slide. So it's going to be even better than what you thought, right? I remember people used to say this to me often, and I would just completely dismiss it because it's kind of like one of those cliches, right? But it is so deeply true. You know, that feeling. I remember, you know, being in my office, nothing, just brotherhood was merely a vision in my mind, and playing this epic music in the background, usually movie soundtracks, and seeing this full-on retreat, visualizing it, feeling it, seeing it, and wishing one day that would be reality. And then now, over the last few years, you know, we've ran 7 retreats now, moving on to our 8th this year, and most likely a 9th as well. That feeling is beyond anything else. To have something that was once in your mind, in your heart, in your vision, in your soul, come into reality, that is it. That is the mission. And if I can do it, if anyone else in the world can do it, so can you. All right. And we all have that deeper mission, that deeper calling. And that feeling is beyond anything else. Again, you know, I love that saying. It's like a man can have the most beautiful wife, the most beautiful family, but if he's not on his divine purpose, he will feel empty. And the true, we could say, void is filled by following your deeper truth and your deeper self. And that feeling is beyond anything else. So it's always going to feel even better than what you thought. Structure and discipline is the way through, all right? So I say this with the awareness that as you have structure, you can then flow within the structure, right? So I know for me, it's like if I'm starting to feel a bit too chaotic, it's it's a clear signal that I need more structure. If everything starts to feel a bit rigid, then I probably need a bit more spontaneity or flow, right? Or switch off time, which comes on to the next one, right? So you find that nice balance. And and discipline, you know, again, we hear it all the time, but it's so true. You're not always going to feel like you want to do things. Like the inspiration is not always going to be there, that drive. And I know for me, I would only wait to those moments, or I'd be hanging on for the moments in which there was drive. And there was almost become this obsession with that feeling. And then that took away from actually taking the action, which is the very thing that brings the drive and the momentum online. So the momentum is built from you and from being disciplined in every action that you believe is going to forge you into the best version of yourself and bring forward the best results. And that often comes from knowing exactly what the next step is, but just not doing it. All right. Switch off time is crucial. Now, from someone who's burnt out multiple times over the last few years, this is bang on the money. All right. Again, the warrior archetype is so powerful and so deeply misunderstood as well. All right, and there is so much power in building that aspect of yourself. 100%, I'm an advocate for that. However, there is time for just complete switch off, and once you put down the shields, put down the swords, and are able to just completely rest, whether that is every now and then watching TV, whatever it is for you, right, in which you can fully switch off. Like I've no shame whatsoever. Sometimes I love watching TV. Sometimes every now and then I'll play a PlayStation game, right, and that's okay. Is it something I do all the time? No, but however, when I do grant myself that switch off time, and this is something I'm still deeply working on, not having any guilt around it, because that is bullshit, but it's also, by fully switching off, it allows you when you're on to be far more productive, get way more done, feel refreshed, feel inspired. And for me, at the end of the year, I completely was burnt out. Burnt myself right to the end of the line, in which we can say the last month of the year, I really didn't have any spark, and was really slogging through. So then therefore on the Christmas break, taking time completely off, I came back fully rejuvenated, clear, getting clear downloads, insights, deep energy, that drive back online, and that came from having full switch off time. All right, so incredibly crucial. Anybody who tells you sleep is for the weak or sleep is for the dead is full of shit. All right, no one actually cares. This is such a good one. Again, I remember first starting on my journey, or first starting creating my own content, and I used to be so scared of what other people thought of me, or we can say people from school or whatever it was, right? Which is like a basic tribal survival thing. Again, school, so survival based in terms of, and very tribal based, in which, if we did anything different from the tribe in ancient times, it would mean we were casted out, which would mean death, right? Which, therefore, that very deep instinct or fear of rejection actually starts to run, we can say, runs our behaviors or our thoughts subconsciously. However, the deeper realization that no one actually cares, like everyone is so deeply focused on their own life and what maybe you're thinking of them, that no one really cares. And if anyone judges you, it's only for a couple of minutes, and then therefore, and it says more about them, because that deeper truth is, which is a great one, is if you judge another, it's usually what you're judging in yourself. And if someone calls me an idiot, or someone says, whatever the insult is, I immediately know, and this is from, again, my psychotherapy teachings, I'm like, oh, well, that's how you feel about yourself. I'm sorry that you feel that way. And it just completely deflects off, right? Because you realize psychologically that it's because they're judging themselves, right? So then the same goes for yourself. No one actually cares. Everyone's focused on their own journey. So just do you, and you're going to fail and you're going to suck in the beginning, and that's okay. And you just got to push through that, because the rewards are way greater than the pain in the beginning. And that's enjoying the process. Again, such a cliche, but really, really crucial in terms of, I remember that beginning phase of brotherhood in which there was so much creativity and insight and inspiration. And I was constantly thinking into the future and going, I can't wait to be there. I can't wait to be where I am now. And again, where I am now is so incredibly beautiful, and I'm very present in that. I'm in a really beautiful space in my life, and worked really hard to get here. However, there were some amazing moments of creativity and inspiration that maybe I haven't felt the same as I did in that period. So I love that insight. It's like enjoy those beginning moments, enjoy the process, enjoy the journey. Again, it's so cliche, but because there will be versions of you that miss certain aspects of that time of your life. So really being fully present in it. A great one that I use in this is, so often, let's say I'm sitting on the couch in my family home with my dog there and my mom, and I have this deeper realization that there's going to be a version of me that would do anything to live this moment again. And then therefore you fully live it. You're fully there because you realize, yeah, there is going to be a point in your life in which you would do anything to come back to this moment now. So that gives you a beautiful perspective to really take it in and fully live it and fully enjoy it, because you just never know. You honestly never know. And then the last one being, you are what you admire. I love this. Carl Jung has a phrase called the golden shadow, in which, the shadow can represent what we judge in another, can be what we judge in ourselves, so suppressed aspects of ourselves. But you are what you admire. So often we can project these amazing qualities onto other people, go, wow, they're so cool, calm, charismatic, whatever the story is, right? But the beauty is you wouldn't be able to see it if it wasn't you, because we're only ever seeing life through our own filters, our own perspectives, our beliefs, conceptions, meta programs, all of that. So you're only ever seeing it through your lens. So you wouldn't be able to see it if it wasn't you, right? So it's actually starting to take people off of that pedestal and bring them down and seeing them as equal and going, yeah, okay, I can see the inconsistencies in myself, but then it's like, yeah, I can also recognize the beauty in another, because that is the beauty within myself. And I remember this was a process I did, I think it was a book called The Energy of Money, in which they were, write 5 people down that you admire. And for me, it was like Tony Robbins, Aubrey Marcus, a few other people. And then it was like, write down the 5 qualities of those people that you really admire. I think it was like heroic, courageous, leader, whatever it was, right? I think it was a few. I actually still have it in my wallet here. I'll show you. And I actually got extremely emotional whilst doing this exercise, because, where is it? Yeah, here we go. Because I never recognized those qualities in myself. And yeah, it's really beautiful to recognize those, the beauty in yourself, and the power that you have and the strength that you have. And that life is really just reflecting back yourself. So yeah, here we go. You can see it here. So I've got, these are my standards of integrity: leader, perseverance, kindness, authenticity, heroic, strong, empathy. And I said, I know these are mine because I can see them in others. Bang. Beautiful. Let's go get it. The mission beckons, the mission calls, as always. I hope you enjoyed this content. There's going to be many, many more of these videos. Chuck me a comment below if you've received a lot of value. Stay on the path. Excalibur calls, the mission calls. Let's fucking go.